Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now the end of February of 2023, and that means we're only getting closer to The Mandalorian Season 3's debut on March 1st by Jon, George, and Dave, as well as other creators that went on board for the Mandalorian series as well. Now on top of this, we already know that Lucasfilm is going through a great change, all thanks to Bob Iger. We talked about this in the last post if you guys want to go ahead and check it out. However, alright, with that being said, we already know that Disney is beginning to get ready for their big announcement about the new slate of Star Wars installments at Celebration this year. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, given that Disney and the board overall is still in the process of getting a new Lucasfilm president, they already have multiple candidates, and we're going to be talking about the big update, a substantial update, mind you, about which candidates are actually more in favor right now to replace Kathleen Kennedy by Bob Iger. Now, one thing is for certain is that we already covered how Ron Howard initially was the top choice, and then that fell apart because he's busy with other, projects on a smaller scale that's taking up his time. But what's even all the more intriguing is that David Heyman, the producer that was involved in the Harry Potter films, was then the one to replace Ron Howard to be the top pick, and that too now is beginning to fall apart. Well, Disney is now going back to somebody, or a couple of people, mind you, that is going to take over David Heyman's top of the list and exactly where that's going. So let's get right into this. Now, we know that Disney is very desperate at this point in time to really kind of bring Star Wars back to its roots. Given that Disney is now looking for their replacement for somebody to take over at Lucasfilm as a president throughout the past couple of months, who was first going to be Ron Howard, like I said, that fell apart, with producer David Heyman at the top of the list initially. However, Disney recently added more candidates backing up plans after hearing talks that Heyman is going to be involved in a new Harry Potter film, potentially The Cursed Child. Right now, Disney board members have all eyes on producers Neil H. Moritz and Dana Brunetti as backup plans, with Disney in favor of Dana Brunetti to take David Heyman's place as the top pick if he steps down from a potential Harry Potter film. Now, Brunetti has worked on films such as 21, fantastic movie by the way, Fanboys, which by the way has tons of Star Wars references, in fact it's all about Star Wars fan culture in the 90s, and even worked on Captain Phillips, another great movie by the way. Disney right now is surprisingly in favor of Brunetti over David Heyman, since they are beginning to have doubts with David when it comes to his availability and schedule to act as Lucasfilm president to replace Kathleen Kennedy, a lot of which has to do with this new Harry Potter film. On top of that, Brunetti, like David Heyman, is also too said to be a big Star Wars fan, and that's why he got involved in the film Fanboys, to dedicate his love to the franchise. So let me just stop right here for a second. I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Fanboys. It's a comedy film. Sure, it's a little campy and it's a little, out of place at times, but overall, the movie Fanboys really kind of covers fan culture in the 90s. They even make a big reference to the fan divide over the Phantom Menace in that movie, and they even go to Skywalker Ranch. I mean, there's all these different great things. I do suggest that you guys check it out if you like comedy films. But, that just is a big surprise to me that they want Brunetti, a guy that dedicated an entire movie to fan culture of respecting Star Wars and trying to really kind of just do great things about the franchise and all the like. So Brunetti's a big Star Wars fan. In fact, he's probably a bigger fan than David Heyman is. And that's a really good choice. I think that's a solid choice, if anybody, to take over as a Lucasfilm president for somebody that made a movie about fan culture. Makes a lot of sense to me. Now, I'm not quite sure how Brunetti is as a person when it comes to his view of the Star Wars fandom nowadays. I'm not quite sure about that. But overall, Disney is said to have a lot of faith in Brunetti. They're setting up a lot of things in the next month or so. We're going to be talking about that in a second. And you know what? I think that Dana Brunetti is a solid choice. I really do. Captain Phillips, fantastic movie, like I said before. 21, go ahead and check it out. I think that's a great movie as well, back in 2008. This guy has worked on fantastic films, and that gives me even all the more confidence in him. So, moving on to the next big thing here, alright? Brunetti, of course, like Heyman, like I said before, is a big fan as well. With Heyman looking more unlikely now, Brunetti is a solid choice for Disney as he too holds knowledge about the franchise. Now, on the flip side, no surprise, Kathleen Kennedy is said to have heard about this, and does not approve in the slightest bit, and believes that Brunetti would do a very bad job handling the franchise. Again, I think that's just her being very defensive, and being very much, a little self-absorbed there, obviously, because she does not want her position to be replaced. But I think that if Heyman goes down and they get Brunetti in, that's a solid choice without a doubt. That is probably the choice in my opinion. I would rather Brunetti over Heyman, to be honest. Sure, Heyman worked on more blockbuster-esque films like Harry Potter and such, but Brunetti worked on these real well-written movies, well-written projects out there that he was a part as a producer. I think that he's the guy. I really do. I think that he knocks it out of the park when it comes to comparing him against Ron Howard, David Heyman, like I talked about before. Even Jerry Bruckheimer was the first choice way back, 6 months ago. We talked about this before he got cast out. He worked on the Pirates movies, by the way. So, yeah, Brunetti, I think that if he does, in fact, get the overall top of the list choice, this is the way to go. And this is definitely, I think, the shoo-in. So anyways, when you look at it like this, we know that Kathleen Kennedy is already pre-planning her new production company, dubbed Starlight Productions. That's not the official name, by the way. But she is creating a studio to become a competitor against Star Wars, Star Trek, and all the other sci-fi aspects like Dune. And you would think that Disney would absolutely hate what Kathleen Kennedy is doing. This might be even why they are trying to get her out by this August, after learning about her creating her own production company. We talked about this too a couple of months ago. So overall, this new potential candidate to become at the top of the list, Dana Brunetti, I think, is going to be a great choice, without a doubt. John and Dave, by the way, I know a lot of people have said and suggested them becoming the Lucasfilm president. They're not gonna. I don't see that happening. They're so busy and so backed up with work on the upcoming projects that they're writing and directing and all the like to really get things rolling. They're acting like president, that's for sure. They have all these privileges at Lucasfilm, but there is no way that they will become the president, in my opinion. They may act as president at times, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, I think that this is a great development, and I would like to hear what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.